Good evening, Renita Bonadies. At previous board meetings during the bond proposal, the public was told to only believe what we found on the MPS website and only to trust the data that MPS put out. And last board meeting, after we were told that it would feel like 3.25 this year, had we passed that bond instead of the 3.9, I noticed that you authorized to continue at the 2.95. And my understanding of the presentations and the graph that dropped off was that it was supposed to drop to 2.30 had this bond passed. That would have been this year on the taxes that you just approved. But now you're telling us, which kind of changes things tonight, that no, we're going to reassess that at the end of the year. So I guess what I'm trying to figure out is when we asked last month after the meeting why it was approved at the 2.95 rate rather than 2.3, we were told that that 2.3 was only contingent on the bond passing. So I guess when I look at the 3881 form and I look at the numbers and what was projected for the 2025 tax year, it showed 2.30. Those were your facts, those were your numbers, that's what was submitted to the state. But the 1.15 wasn't what was approved last month, it was 1.475 instead. And I guess I'm trying to figure out if you are allowed to bill the public more than you actually owe in bond debt this year. Because it would appear, given the tax base and all that's going on, that there's almost a $2 million difference between those two things. And just trying to figure out why you would be billing more than your bond debt shows, because one of the bonds of the four paid off May 1st of 2025. So that one went away. I looked at the numbers, I see some other adjustments, but I still don't see where it's more than 2.30 given your current bond debt for 2025. So I guess it's just another piece of data that doesn't seem to be consistent with the facts we were presented with during the campaign, that it was going to indeed drop to 2.30 instead of 2.95 in 2025. Thank you.
Approaches since I first engaged with Facilities Planning Initiative last fall. An approach that focuses on helping the community move forward with that clarity, unity, and ambition. From someone who has moved people, hearts, and minds into new unknown territory, I can assure you it won't be easy. We are at a crossroads, and this is an even more complex problem to solve given the backdrop of highly uncertain times outside of our control. But I also think if any community can do it, we can. I've already been working across the stakeholder spectrum, including with some of the no voters in the room tonight. And we've had some very constructive conversations. I truly believe there is a win-win path forward. I know all of us want to do what's right for the community now and for our future explorers. As I always say, the process of how we get there is more important than the specifics of the next bond or plan. I hope you'll keep the door open to new approaches and courageous, creative challenge solving that can help build that momentum and win the buy-in and commitment of our community. That said, I will package my ideas and share them with you before August 4th. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shelley and I'm new coming to these meetings, but I've been in Midland for 25 years. I have board experience. I served on the board of the Diocese of Saginaw for 11 years, 6 of which I was the chair or the vice chair. And I recognize that you are relying on the administration of the Midland Public Schools, and I want to inquire about how the school district met the notice requirement for the passage of the 2025-2026 budget. As I understand, the Michigan Department of Treasury Uniform Budget Manual for local units of government and the relevant statute sections cited within the manual, the school district shall consider the recommended budget and hold a public hearing as required by Public Act 2 of 1968, among other cited applicable laws. Public hearings must be conducted consistent with the Open Meetings Act. Proper notice and a public hearing must be conducted before final passage of a budget. I believe this applies to the school district as I understand the statute and the manual. The manual notes the school district as the governing body and responsible party is responsible for giving notice of the budget hearing. The manual, citing the Public Act of 1963, states that the local unit, and here as I understand it, the school district, shall give notice of the hearing by publication in a newspaper of general circulation within the local unit at least 6 days before the hearing. The notice shall include the time and place of the hearing, the place where a copy of the budget is available for inspection, and the statement printed in 11-point bold font, bold-faced type. Quote, the property tax millage rate proposed to be levied to support the proposed budget will be a subject of this hearing. I was unable to locate such a notice before the meeting on June 16th. I also checked with others in the Midland community about whether they were able to locate the notice or a copy of the proposed budget. No one had. I am new to looking at these types of school documents, as I said, so I may have simply overlooked it. I only located an article published by Midland Daily News on June 16th, the day of the board meeting, which indicated that the Midland Public Schools board meeting on June 16th would include a public hearing of the 2025-26 budget and a time for public comment on the budget. The article did not indicate any budget specifics or expressly identify the availability of a proposed budget for review. I infer from the absence of this information from the Midland Daily News that it also did not find a notice that disclosed the availability of the proposed budget. It is possible that the required notice was published and the proposed budget was made available for inspection and I just missed it. If so, then I would like to know where and on what date it was published so I can find it. But I've got asks if that's not the case. So I would like to finish, please. If it was not published, then I ask the board members to address this with the school district. Either provide an explanation about any applicable exemption that would have eliminated the notice requirement, or provide the corrective action that will be taken if there was a violation of the notice requirement.
Right.
Without the public's ability to access
Thanks,
the
Shelley.
proposed budget before the vote on
Thanks.
June 16th.
Thank you.
There's no ability for meaningful public comment
You
if
can-
there was no notice.
You can come talk to me after the board meeting, but
Thank you.
Good evening, Joey Storr. I made a FOIA request for what Don had mentioned earlier, which was the agenda and the agenda packets. That was responded to kindly by District FOIA Coordinator Cynthia Marches. At any rate, it came with, as Don mentioned, a $316 charge. And looking at the charge, it looks like it came in two pieces. One piece at a $35 per hour rate for locating and retrieving, and another piece for redacting and reviewing records at a $56 rate. I would like to ask that the fees be waived based on conditions mentioned in Midland Public School FOIA guidelines. Basically, it says fees will not be charged for the cost to search, examine, review, and delete, separate, redact, exempt from non-exemption information unless failure to charge a fee would result in unreasonably high cost to the district. So I would propose that since the agendas and agenda packets are already a work product of the Midland Public School District, that there is no unreasonably high cost for finding them, the first charge set. And I think the business of redacting, surely names and addresses should be redacted, but to charge every single citizen a $56 rate for a one-time redaction event to make a public copy is overcharging us at the minimum. It's really a minimal charge because you only have to do it once. And we also took a little bit of effort of looking at your list of exemplary schools. I think you provide a list as such. We contacted 8 of those school districts today about the public availability of agendas with attachments before school board meetings. I was only able to talk with someone at 4 of the 8 school districts. All 4 of them made the agendas with attachments available to the public before their board meetings 2 to 4 days. Ann Arbor, Birmingham, Bloomington Hills, and Rochester. Rochester gets the gold star. Not only do they make the agenda and attachments available by publishing on their website, they send an email to all staff and parents and other community stakeholders notifying them about the meeting, but also including the agenda and the attachments. And that's your list of exemplary schools. So thank you for that. I please hope you decide to make the information available. Thank you.
Bonadies, Homer Township. As you have heard, there is a controversy over the continuation of the full 2.95 tax millage for 2025. Going back to the bond campaign, the Michigan Association of School Boards published an update which included, quote, "The district should only provide factual information about the issue without opinions or conjecture. The factual information is not required to be balanced, and there is no requirement for the district to present facts supporting an opposing view," unquote. There is circumstantial evidence that the news update was specifically written to defend the Midland campaign. Why am I bothering you with this in the public? There was no information available that the 2.3 millage was contingent on the bond passing. The pre-existing bond debt was reported to the state as 2.3 for 2025, and your literature presentations leveraged that drop to make the 3.9 millage feel like 3.25. Thus, the public had no reason to doubt that the presumed facts of the 2015 millage in 2025 were conditional. I have tried to follow up with getting underlying information, but there are holes. As MASB said, and we have now seen demonstrated, you only need to present facts that support your position. What are the consequences of these events? 1, transparency has dissolved into that which you want to show us. 2, we can assume nothing and will have to formally ask probing questions to get a clearer picture. 3, we will ask for formal statements on what you will do if given the money, as well as detailed reportings as how you use the money. I will send you examples from your bond elite comparison schools, which was different from your education comparison groups, to illustrate how others do that. Your consent agenda, number 4, adoption of school's choice. And I'm aware there was a school choice program, et cetera. This is the first time I've seen the policy written out. And I'm concerned about the last sentence. Non-resident students who enroll in the Middle Public Schools through this process can maintain their attendance until they graduate and you pay no tuition. That sounds like a guarantee. I would say that can be a nice to have, but if situations change and residents need places in our schools, they take precedence. So I'd like to know that is not a guarantee. And thanks to our current political situation going on in Washington, DEI has been, quote, told to go away, unquote. The state board is trying to resist the federal edicts. A few cities have declared that they will not stop DEI. Midland still has a DEI director. For the record, if the district loses any federal funds because you stay on the DEI train, I will formally request that a portion of that decrease comes out of the administration salaries. Thank you.